So Tara Reade sat down and she did an interview with Megyn Kelly. And there are two interesting clips that I want to show you. And there's also some more evidence corroborating her story that has come to light. Okay, so several points to examine here, to look at. So let me just start out with the first clip and then we'll discuss.
Let's talk about what he said. Because he went on TV last Friday and said, first of all, it never happened. Period, end of report. This did not happen. He did say that in his view, accusers should start off with the presumption that they're telling the truth. Do you think he's afforded you that presumption?
No. I mean, it's been stunning, actually, how the some of his surrogates with the blue checks, that are his surrogates, have been saying really horrible things about me and to me on social media. He hasn't himself, but there's a measure of hypocrisy with the campaign saying it's safe. It's not been safe. All my social media has been hacked. All my personal information has been dragged through. Every person that maybe has a gripe against me, an ex-boyfriend or an ex-landlord or whatever it is, has been able to have a platform rather than me. Talking about things that have nothing to do with 1993, like even the whole thing with being called a Russian agent, that in particular, that incites people. People actually, I got a death threat from that because they thought I was being a traitor to America. And I mean, these are serious things. And his campaign is taking this position that they want all women to be able to speak safely. I have not experienced that.
If he's watching this, what do you want to say to him?
I want to say, you and I were there, Joe Biden. Please step forward and be held accountable. You should not be running on character for the President of the United States.
You want him to withdraw?
I wish he would. But he won't, but I wish he would. That's how I feel emotionally.
Do you want an apology?
I think it's a little late.
Everything she said is on point. Joe Biden has been given a platform. Everybody else has been given a platform except her. Look how long it took them to give her a proper interview, a sit down. We're in May. Why hasn't she been invited on a Morning Joe? Why did they try to bury the story for so long? For weeks and weeks, they ignored it, and then they couldn't ignore it anymore. And every time they talk to Joe Biden, they veer off and ignore key details that corroborate Tara Reade's story. Essentially, they're doing PR for Joe Biden. They're pretending to grill him. They pretend to be tough with him. They're actually just giving him a platform and giving him a voice, but not Tara Reade. That's what's going on. They're letting him be the first one to shape the narrative of the story and give him a pedestal, but not her. So that's very important. That's very, very, very important. You need to understand this, okay? The whole Me Too movement, the whole issue was that, you have powerful men. They're really important politicians, men who hold key positions in government or in Hollywood, who are using that influence for sexual assault to exploit women. And then when we have a case of that, where you have a senator running for president, what do? They give him even more of a platform on top of the power, on top of the influence that he already has, so they can further discredit Tara Reade because it doesn't suit their, political agenda. On top of that, on top of giving Joe Biden the opportunity to shape the whole story, she has been slandered. She's been insulted. She's been tarnished by Biden campaign surrogates, no less, saying that Ryan Grimm and the people who broke the story originally have to be investigated by the FBI, not Joe Biden, the guy running for president who's accused of sexual assault. No. Why would the FBI investigate him? No. Let's investigate journalists. Why would we have freedom of press under Joe Biden, who prosecuted tons of journalists with Obama, right? So she has been on the receiving end of all the backlash instead of Joe Biden. And I mean, it's disgusting. It really is. And I agree with her. I think it's much, much too late for an apology, even though he should give her one anyway. But more importantly, he should also drop out. Like she correctly stated. Of course he should drop out. I mean, just the fact that she's being asked this is ridiculous. Joe Biden had to drop out previously because he plagiarized a bunch of speeches and he lied about his academic record and things like that. Now, in 2020, he's accused of sexual assault and it's nothing. Nothing happens. He isn't investigated. He just keeps running. You know, they don't care. What is that? What's going on here? This should be the biggest scandal in Washington, D.C. right now. It really should. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous that Joe Biden is still running. Once again, I've never heard of a race where you have two contenders. One of them is accused of sexual assault and their opponent drops out. Bernie Sanders in this case. So Joe Biden is accused of sexual assault and instead of him dropping out, no, it's Bernie Sanders. What? This is lunacy. This is lunacy. Yeah, this Russian agent nonsense. I'm not even going to address that. How ludicrous. So there's a second clip also from Tara Reade's interview with Megyn Kelly that I want to show you. Okay, take a look.
Do you believe we should believe all women?
I believe in the survivors that have come forward, like Blasey Ford and the other ones that have come forward. I do stand with them. I think that there needs to be a conversation rather than a hashtag.
Are you in favor of the conversation? I mean, does Joe Biden get due process? Does he get the chance to vet these claims and defend himself? Is that okay?
I think he's been doing that, right? He's had a chance for more platforms than I have.
If I can just go back for 1 second to Blasey Ford.
Yes.
Some of those who supported her, but now have found a reason not to support you, say, well, she was under oath. Would you go under oath?
Absolutely.
They say, well, she subjected herself to cross-examination. Would you do that?
Absolutely.
They also point out that she took a polygraph controlled by someone on her team. Is that something you want to do?
I'm not a criminal. Joe Biden should take the polygraph. What kind of precedent does that set for survivors of violence? Does that mean we're presumed guilty and we all have to take polygraphs? So I will take one if Joe Biden takes one. But I'm not a criminal.
She's right. She nailed it. She's not the fucking criminal here. Why should she take that polygraph test? I mean, as far as I know, polygraph tests are pseudoscience. They're used as a form of intimidation to coerce a confession out of someone. But scientifically, medically, I don't think they actually hold that much weight, as far as I know. But, of course, her point, nonetheless, is correct. Why should she take one? Joe Biden is the one who should be taking one. As I've said before, every time we have evidence coming out regarding this story, it's always in her favor, in Tara Reade's favor, and it corroborates her story. We have some more evidence that just came out. 1996 court document confirms Tara Reade told of harassment in Biden's office. So a court document from 1996 shows former Senate staffer Tara Reade told her ex-husband she was sexually harassed while working for Joe Biden in 1993. The declaration, exclusively obtained by the Tribune in San Luis Obispo, California, does not say Biden committed the harassment, nor does it mention Reade's more recent allegations of sexual assault. Reade's then-husband, Theodore Dronin, wrote the court declaration. Dronin at the time was contesting a restraining order Reade filed against him days after he filed for divorce. Here's a scan of it. So when he says, I met petitioner, he means Tara Reade, okay? So this is her ex-husband writing this. He says, I met Tara Reade in the spring of 1993 while working in Washington, D.C. At the early stages of our dating, petitioner, meaning Tara Reade, felt comfortable confiding in me as we both worked for members of Congress and we shared many other common interests. On several occasions, petitioner related a problem that she was having at work regarding sexual harassment in U.S. Senator Joe Biden's office. Petitioner told me that she eventually struck a deal with the chief of staff at the senator's office and left her position. I was sympathetic to her needs when she asked me for help and assisted her financially and allowed her to stay at my apartment with my roommate while she looked for work. It was obvious that this event had a very traumatic effect on petitioner and that she is still sensitive and affected by it today. Asked for comment Thursday, the national press secretary for Biden's presidential campaign, T.J. Ducklow, said the campaign is not commenting on the latest development at this time. However, the campaign did provide a comment from Ted Kaufman, who was Biden's chief of staff at the time, and he says, quote, I have consistently said what is the truth here, that she never came to me. He also says, I do not remember her, and had she come to me in any of these circumstances, I would remember her. But I do not, because she did not. Okay, so look, man. In case this isn't obvious, the Biden campaign are a bunch of bullshitters. So are the people who used to work for Biden, okay, at his Senate office. Once again, this is a second piece of evidence that Tara Reade did not just make this up right now conveniently because Joe Biden happens to be running for president. These motherfuckers that are trying to tarnish and discredit Tara Reade are full of shit. So we have proof that Tara Reade's mom called into Larry King Live, August 11th, 1993. And now on top of it, we got these court documents from 1996. How is it that Tara Reade made this up just now in 2020 when Joe Biden is running for president if we got evidence that she was telling her mom and telling her ex-husband about somebody sexually harassing her in Biden's office in the 90s? What is she, a fucking time traveler? You motherfuckers. There was dialogue between Tara Reade and Biden's office back then. And yet you have Biden's chief of staff and everybody else. You remember all these people who worked at the office saying, oh, I would never heard of such a thing. Oh, my Joe Biden, you never do such a thing. Never. Talking about him like he's some fucking choir boy. Next thing they're going to say, well, what do you mean the nuclear bombs? What do you mean weapons of mass destruction? Did Saddam Hussein file a complaint with Joe Biden's office? Because we can find it. They're all full of shit. They're all being paid off, pressured, whatever it is. They're all fucking liars. Claiming that, oh, she never filed any documents and, oh, she never told anybody about that bull fucking shit. And even if she didn't, what does that mean? It didn't happen? Not everybody comes forward. It's a traumatic fucking experience. They don't fucking owe you that. Have you seen the fucking requirements that they had set up for people to come forward with sexual assault? They make it so difficult on purpose. The next time you hear people from Biden's campaign or whoever saying that Tara Reade just made all this stuff up now because she's trying to go after Joe Biden while he's running for president, that's horseshit. Because we got more than one piece of evidence now proving that, she was telling people about this back then. And I think it's just really heartbreaking. Like she had to hold that on her shoulders. She had to carry that on her shoulders. And she was only able to tell her family. She didn't get no justice, right? It would have been very hard for her to file a police report, for her to go sue him, for her to really challenge him. I mean, look at the kind of backlash that she's facing now. This just proves to you that she would have been stonewalled and discredited. They're doing it right now in front of your fucking eyes. Even when all the evidence is coming out is corroborating her side of the story, not Biden's. These motherfuckers, do you know what kind of avenue they're going to take now? They're going to start saying like, oh, well, you see, that maybe there was sexual harassment, but it wasn't sexual assault. What? I don't care which one it was. He should still drop out. And you're still fucking liars because you said nothing happened, and that's a fucking lie. Anyway, man, fuck these people. Like, what do you expect? Of course, these assholes are going to protect Biden. Of course, man, the elites look after themselves. I'm not surprised. The mainstream media, they've been serving as a mouthpiece for the Biden campaign and letting him shape the narrative and letting him have the first word and bringing him on their fucking shows. The people who broke this story, the people who actually cared about it were independent media, not mainstream media. So, once again, further shows you, man, these people in the mainstream media, they're a mouthpiece for the establishment. That's it. They've never grilled Biden properly. They keep leaving out key pieces of evidence. And every time we see something resurface, it's always corroborating what Tara Reade said, not what Joe Biden said. They're all fucking liars, every single one of them, in the campaign and his former staff. We need to zoom out here a second. This is very important. No one is debating that. The whole Tara Reade story, but don't let them trick you into thinking it's only about her. Joe Biden is a terrible fucking person regardless. Even before Tara Reade came forward, Lucy Flores came forward. Several other women came forward. What about them? That doesn't count? The videos of him sniffing women? What the fuck is that? And on top of it, all his shit with the Iraq war and trying to gut Social Security and mass incarcerating blacks. I mean, what the fuck? And working with segregation. It's like, what? You couldn't bring us a worse candidate. Get the fuck out of here with this piece of shit, man. Fuck Joe Biden.